Alright guys, welcome back. Before we start with base training, I just want to go a little bit into what is aerobic training. So when you look at it, it's aerobic versus anaerobic. Aerobic is more long, slower distances, whereas anaerobic is more like sprinting and stuff. So what we want to do is slow miles, lots and lots of slow miles. And that transitions, of course, into what base training is. By getting a lot of slow miles, you're going to be able to essentially run faster, longer, eventually. But before you run faster, you want to run longer. Without an aerobic foundation, trying to run faster miles for a longer duration of time is just not going to happen. You know, if you're not in shape to run a 5K for 30 minutes, but you haven't got your body accustomed to running 30 minutes, even at slower paces, how are you supposed to run faster for that long, you know? So I'm going to go into a few points of why you should be base training before you start any other workouts and trying to run faster as well. So the first and most important part to building your aerobic base is, of course, increasing your aerobic efficiency. The more miles or kilometers that you put on your body, the more efficient your body is going to become aerobically. It's also going to help your body not produce as much lactic acid, which when you're doing longer runs, you'll be able to do those longer runs faster. And that's the whole point, is you want to train your body to run longer distances. Even if you're training for a 5K, if you train your body to be able to handle the stress of a 10, 15, 20K, that 5K is not going to be as strenuous on your body as it would if you were just training for 5Ks. So the second point is, when you're building your aerobic base, you're also reducing the stress that your body is taking. And what I mean by that is, you're training your body to be able to handle more pain, more stress. It's not necessarily doing less stress, but your body's able to handle more stress. So essentially, the larger your base is, the more stress your body could handle, which means the longer you could run without hurting yourself, which means the faster you could run without all that lactic acid really taking its toll on your body. Which, of course, if you're training for a 5K and you're not trained and you run that 5K, that is a lot of stress that you're enduring that you're not used to. A lot of the time you might get injured, your muscles might get sore during your run, you might pull something. There's so many things that could happen if you're running these fast distances without your body being aerobically trained. However, say you're running the same 5K race, but you built your base to running about 60 to 70 kilometers a week, that 5K is suddenly not going to be as strenuous on your body, even if you are running faster. A third great thing about building your aerobic base is something that a lot of you guys might love, and that's weight loss. So of course, when you're running, you're burning calories, which means you're going to lose weight. However, a lot of the time, weight loss is not sustainable. If you go on a diet for 2 weeks and you lose a bunch of weight and then you stop dieting, you're probably going to put that weight back on. However, when you're running, it's a bit more sustainable because running actually boosts your metabolism. So if you actually put that on top of dieting, now you have a sustainable weight loss, and your body is actually going to be a lot more efficient because you don't have all that excess, fat and stuff now weighing you down. Myself, for example, when I started running back in January, I was 165 pounds. I'm currently sitting at about 155 pounds, so I've lost about 10 pounds. I've noticed a big difference. My pace, even for my easy runs, has increased. My pace for my hard runs has increased even more, because you're not lugging around all that extra weight, and you're actually training yourself, of course, to be a better runner, which is the reason I'm guessing why you're at this video. So moving on, there's a bunch of other benefits as well. One, of course, is just increasing your strength. By running, you're increasing your strength overall. Of course, there's ways to improve it even greater, and speed training and tempo runs and all that are a great way to do that, but you have to be ready for those. So just by running, 10, 20, 30 kilometers in a week at the beginning is just making you stronger so that the following weeks you could run more, and it'll actually help you increase your speed as well. Even if you're not doing a tempo run, even if you're not running super fast, you're still increasing your muscular strength. You're also increasing your muscular endurance as well, meaning you could run faster longer. And that's essentially what we're trying to do. And with that increased strength, You're also helping things like your stabilizing muscles and, things that might be underworked. So that way, your body is just not going to get injured. And that's our next benefit, is injury prevention. Just building your aerobic base is going to make you be able to run faster without getting injured. It's going to be able to make you run longer without getting injured. You're just going to get injured less. When you look at a lot of the pro marathoners, and I know everybody here is not going for a marathon, I'm just using this as an example, you might think 140 kilometers, which I was doing, is a lot, but at the same time, you look at elite marathoners, a lot of them are putting in over 200 kilometers a week, which is absolutely insane, but it's true. I'm just not there yet. It already caught up to me, even doing 140, and I got the IT band syndrome, which is an overuse injury. So you just got to make sure to be careful. Even me, who has a very great aerobic base, still got injured because my body just wasn't ready for as many miles as I was putting on. So you really have to be careful. Injury prevention is a massive, massive advantage, and that's why you need to build your base smartly. Another massive, massive benefit to base training is faster recovery time. The more miles you put in, the faster your body is going to be trained to recover. Some of your runs are actually going to help you recover. You're going to be at the point where you could actually do a 10 kilometer, 15 kilometer run, and yet still your body will recover so that the next day you could do a harder workout. And that's the great thing about your body. It could actually be trained to recover faster. And that's a massive, massive reason why you want to build your base. When you look at the start of your training cycle and you go and do a workout, your body might be sore for 3, 4, 5 days. You just want to go out and do another workout, but you're just too sore. But if you train your body, to recover a lot faster, then that's not going to be the case. You might be able to do a workout, take 2 days off where you're still running 10, 15 kilometer runs in between at an easy pace. And then 2 days later, you could do another workout, which is great because then you could do 2 workouts, yet still build your base in between by doing recovery runs. If we're going to get down to the nitty-gritty, I also want to talk about form. The more you run, the more relaxed you'll feel when running those distances, and the better your form and economy will be when you're running. So that way when you do harder and strenuous runs, your form is going to stay relaxed, your form is going to stay true, and you're not going to start slouching, you're not going to start cringing or tensing, because it's going to be a lot easier for you to maintain your form because you've trained yourself to do it for so many miles that that's just going to become natural for you. And even when your body starts getting tired, you've trained your body to stay in that relaxed form. So it's actually going to help you improve. So when you're doing a 5K, 10K, or even a marathon, when you're running and you start getting tired, you're not going to start losing your pace because you're starting to slouch, or you're taking in less air because your neck is starting to fold in. There's so many things about your form that are so important when you're running. When you're coming down to it and you're looking at, every second counts in those races, especially like those shorter distance races where every single second counts. Well, form is going to get you those extra seconds. So they're very important to becoming a better runner. And finally, a very important one that's often overlooked is your mental state. So of course, when you're running, you're doing a 5K, a lot of the time it's a mental battle to keep pushing yourself. So by doing those extra miles, you're actually training your mind, not just your body, to be able to run those harder, faster, longer distances. So yeah, there are a lot of benefits to building your aerobic base, which is why it's so important for me to stress that you have to do that first. So please guys, if you like this video, hit the subscribe button, smash that like, and throw a comment down below on what else you want to see me do.